Today's video is sponsored by Final Blade. Back in 2012, a certain series aired that absolutely took the anime community by storm. It wasn't the first of its kind, but its impact truly affected future generations of anime, with completely shit knockoffs. Hello everybody, and welcome to All Day Anime. And of course I was talking about Sword Art Online, the anime about a boy trapped in a video game, who just happens to be the one and only black swordsman. In today's video, I will be doing another tournament bracket because I find them to be a ton of fun. This time on my favorite isekai, and in case you don't know, an isekai is a subgenre of anime where the protagonist is transported to, reborn or trapped in a different world or universe. I also triggered a lot of people with my last one, but I just want to say that these are my 8 favorite isekai anime. I absolutely love them, but at the same time they're definitely not perfect, so let's just say I'm gonna have fun with this one. The matchups for today are Sword Art Online versus No Game No Life, Slime Isekai versus Shield Hero, Log Horizon versus KonoSuba, and Re Zero versus Overlord. However, before we begin the epic bracket royale, today's video is sponsored by Final Blade, a hero collector adventure and fighting game available on iOS and Android. It has more than 300 heroes to collect. The heroes are very Eastern inspired, and let me just say there's a ton of top quality waifus here. It has a super fun story mode and a combat system that's quick to learn while using multiple heroes with a variety of skills. However, my favorite part of this game is that you can join clans and compete in clan wars and challenge epic raid bosses together. They're also doing a Valentine's event which is launching globally February 24th that's likely going to have a item drop and limited edition hero. The link is in the description below. Not only would you be downloading a fun and completely free game, but you would also be supporting my channel in the process, and I really do appreciate it. But without any more delay, let's jump into the video. And in round 1, we have Sword Art Online versus No Game No Life. Sword Art Online is a virtual MMORPG video game, and our protagonist Kirito, along with 10,000 other players, log into play, but there's a catch. If you die in the game, you die in real life. Personally, I fell in love with this anime within the first few episodes, but by the end, it left me feeling cheated. I actually had the pleasure of watching this anime live as it aired for the first 2 seasons. I got to see how the community transformed from this huge hype train to a gigantic hate-filled one with no breaks. Some people even made careers from making fun of the series. In my opinion, it had a great start, but was extremely rushed. The original game had 100 floors to clear, each with an epic boss at the end, but they ended up time skipping their way through them. This gave us very little time to get to know the world and its characters, especially since Kirito jumped between different groups and waifus. Both the emotional and epic scenes had less of an impact as a result. The rest of the seasons are kind of up and down and didn't excite me nearly as much. So even though this anime influenced future generations, it isn't nearly as good as some of the others in this tournament. Which is a great segue to No Game No Life, a comedy isekai series starring Sora and Shiro after they get transported to the world of Disboard, a world entirely governed by games. War and violence is illegal, and everything including the king of the country is decided by games. The concept is great, but surprisingly this anime actually gets a decent amount of hate. I don't know if it's the color scheme, which I love by the way, or maybe the excessive fan service, but that's just something that comes with being an anime fan at this point. So clearly those people aren't men of culture. Personally, I don't feel as though it took away from the series in any way. If anything, they usually did it in a comedic and fun way. But criticism aside, I love this anime. I think each and every conflict is well thought out and genius. Like the time that Sora used his knowledge of our world's science to best Jibril in her own game where she had a huge advantage. At the same time, it's a comedy and the reasoning behind why they were summoned to the world is hilarious. It's not deep at all, and that's what makes it so great. Pretty much God wanted a rematch, because you can't quit while you're ahead. I think people expected another Death Note or Code Geass because of all the mind games, but it's not and doesn't have to be. So I'm gonna give the first win to No Game No Life, and it advances to the second round. Next up, we have Slime Isekai versus Shield Hero. These are 2 very new isekai series, both of which I absolutely adore. Tensei Shitara Slime Datta Ken is a ton of fun. It's about a 37-year-old man who got reincarnated in another world as a slime, who happens to be crazy overpowered. It's truly great watching this slime and how he affects the world and people around him. However, my only complaint is that other than Rimuru, the protagonist himself, I have very little interest in any of the other characters, at least until much later in the manga. In comparison, the Rising of the Shield Hero has a great cast of characters, and the dynamic between Naofumi and Raptalia is amazing. I'm probably butchering their names, by the way. The concept though is pretty generic. A group of normal dudes get transported to a fantasy world as great heroes with specific weapons. Our protagonist, however, only has a shield, making him useless, for offensive attacks. I do, however, think the protagonist is an amazing character. Because he is the shield hero and was quite naive and nice, people took advantage of him. I don't want to get too into the details, but basically he's a good dude who hit rock bottom and they made him out to be a bad guy. And his transformation as a result was truly amazing. He became the villain they wanted and quickly toughened up in order to survive. I do highly recommend both anime, but personally I like Shield Hero more and think it's slightly better, so I'll have it advance to the next round. And next up we have Log Horizon vs KonoSuba. KonoSuba being pretty much the funniest anime I have ever seen. I know comedy is subjective, but for me, I find it hilarious, and it's my bracket after all. To put it in perspective, Kazuma, the protagonist, gets transported to another world after he dies. Even the way he died was amazing. From his perspective, it looks as though he was going to be run over by a truck, but in actuality he died of shock because what he thought was a truck was actually a tractor moving super slowly. My description does not do it justice, but their execution was honestly hilarious. And on top of that, Kazuma is a strong advocate for gender equality. What a great guy. I kind of feel bad having Log Horizon go up against KonoSuba because it's truly a great series that I recommend. Similar premise of a bunch of people getting stuck within a video game, handles politics amazingly, and has a few twists that are super well done. Sadly, it's up against KonoSuba, a parody of the Isekai genre. It's basically making fun of every other anime on this list and it's amazing. Which means that Log Horizon gets absolutely destroyed. Sorry, not sorry. And the final matchup of round 1, Re Zero vs Overlord. Re Zero started off great with Subaru getting transported to another world, and every time he died it was as though he had a checkpoint at a certain point in time and would respawn there. However, neither his return by death, how he got it, or what constitutes a change in checkpoint, nor how he even got transported to the world is explained, at least not yet within the anime. But that's just me nitpicking. I really don't care about that too much. It's kind of become a norm within Isekai. It's kind of accepted at this point. They don't really have to explain why they got transported. Even his challenger Overlord doesn't explain how or why they are in this new world. Overlord is another fantasy series taking place within a game where the protagonist is an absolute overpowered beast. The difference between Ainz and someone like Kirito, for example, is that it makes sense that he's overpowered. At the end of the day, it's just a normal dude trying to play the role of an overlord being given the body and powers of one. And it's a really great change of pace having the protagonist not be some righteous hero, but rather an overlord trying to take over the world. But don't worry, he also pretends to be the strongest and righteous adventurer, Momon. So we do get a little bit of both worlds, even if it's all part of his master plan. Ainz is probably one of my favorite characters because of his ruthless nature, and I do prefer Overlord to Re Zero. One of my complaints with Re Zero is that it's very reactive in nature, and even though I enjoyed it, I really don't sense any form of direction, and that's part of the reason why I'm not exactly looking forward to another season, because I literally have no idea what to expect, nor something to look forward to Subaru achieving. So on that note, I'm going to have to give the W to Overlord and advance it to the second round. In the second round, we have No Game No Life versus Shield Hero and KonoSuba versus Overlord. And of course, these rounds do tend to go by a little faster, as I've already talked about each series. I do think Shield Hero is good, however, based on what I've watched and read, I wouldn't exactly say it's amazing. I do like the characters, their interactions, and the protagonist's development in the beginning, but I'm absolutely in love with No Game No Life. I find it hilarious. I think each individual battle is genius. Some of my favorites from the first season are the word game against Jabril that I mentioned, and the final battle against the Beastmen, where they use the NPC's movements to their advantage as they can't be sensed. Of course, neither series is finished, but from what I've seen and read from both, I like No Game No Life far better, and that's why it's advancing to the finals. The next matchup is Overlord vs KonoSuba, and this is a super hard matchup for me, especially since KonoSuba is a comedy and a parody of the genre. However, there isn't a single complaint I have with the series. I love the protagonist and the entire party's dynamic. Literally every girl is hilarious and waifu material. However, there were a few things that annoyed me with Overlord. One of Overlord's strengths is its main cast, which consists of Ainz and the NPCs. However, I feel like a lot of episodes would go by focusing on politics in random countries that haven't really impacted the plot, or time spent on lizards and knights I don't care about. And I know comedy is subjective, but a lot of the gags in the series just didn't do it for me. Obviously, that's just my personal opinion. And this personally doesn't bother me, but I know a lot of people find it annoying that Ainz has like no equal within the world. Like they keep on teasing that there might be someone that like might be strong within the world, or maybe there's other players, but 3 seasons have gone by and we haven't seen any of that. The only person that was a match for him was his own NPC. Personally, it didn't bother me that aspect, but overall I do think KonoSuba is more perfected. So on that note, KonoSuba moves on to the finals and is facing off against No Game No Life. I'm super happy with the matchup, and I can safely say that these are my two favorite isekai. However, making this choice is going to be extremely hard. I'm going to put two comments down below, one saying KonoSuba and one saying No Game No Life. Be sure to smash that like button on the one you think deserves the win, along with this video. And if you think it's a different isekai series altogether, comment that down below as well. In before someone says Digimon. I haven't seen that in years, so I couldn't put it in the bracket, sorry guys. But back to the finals, which I'm really struggling with, by the way. Let's make a list. KonoSuba is funnier, has a better cast of characters, while No Game No Life has better epic moments. I do personally like the art and music better in No Game No Life, but I'm not going to let that influence my decision. So based on that, I think I'm going to have to give the win to KonoSuba. I do think it's better altogether, although truthfully, I think I enjoyed No Game No Life more, probably for those epic moments. But regardless, KonoSuba wins. Remember to like the comment of your favorite isekai or comment down below. Let's quickly answer a Briggs Q without video, and if I didn't do a Briggs Q, you guys would riot, so that's why I'm not skipping one, even though I'm quite busy this week, right in the middle of midterms and such. Feel free to leave your Briggs Qs down below. The first one is by Kirk Mutuk. I probably butchered that. Hashtag Briggs Q. What's your favorite game you're playing at the time? Right now I'm playing Apex Legends. I love it. I think that's a pretty basic answer. You can follow me on Twitch. I'll probably be streaming some of that in the upcoming weeks. Or week actually. My favorite video game of all time is Borderlands 2. Hashtag Briggs Q. Did you watch Dororo 2019? If not, you should check it out. It's really good, plus Promised Neverland. I'm currently watching Dororo, Promised Neverland, Shield Hero, JoJo, and Mob Psycho for like seasonal shit. And I'm really liking them. I actually might make a video on it all. Epic Bracket Royale for seasonal stuff. Subscribe for more, boys. And the final hashtag Briggs Q for today is Brig Boy. Is it Lord Twigo or Shaggy? Lord Twigo is like a god far above everything else. He's always the mastermind. Shaggy would only need 0.00001 of his power to destroy the world. However, would Shaggy defeat Lord Twigo? No, because Shaggy is actually Lord Twigo in disguise. It's so obvious, why didn't I see this earlier? But anyway guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Twitch link, Discord, Patreon, everything's down below. Try not to kill each other in the comments this time around, and I'll see you all next time. Shinpaku.